Wait, stop zipping that suitcase. Honestly, if you think you can just toss some random stuff into your carry-on and breeze through security like it's 2019, you are in for a rude awakening. Welcome to 2026. The scanners are smarter, the fines are higher, and the list of normal items that can get you pulled into a back room for questioning just got incredibly weird. I am not talking about guns or bombs. That is obvious. I am talking about your vitamins, your portable phone charger. And yes, even that watch part I circled on the thumbnail. Why could a gummy bear meant for sleep get you treated like a serious drug offender in another country? Why would an airline force you to destroy your expensive smart luggage right at the gate? Do not let a $5 item snowball into a bill bigger than your plane ticket. Today, we are walking through the 9 carry-on items that can get you fined or arrested in 2026. And stay with me until the end, because item number 1 is something you have probably thrown into your backpack without a second thought. Let's get into it. If your meds are rattling around in a little unlabeled baggie, you are basically asking a customs officer to play Guess That Pill. And the prize is never good. Japan is where this gets real fast. If they cannot verify what it is, they can confiscate it on the spot. And if the ingredient is on Japan's controlled list, stuff like codeine or certain decongestants, you are not in an oops situation anymore. You can be treated as importing a controlled substance without permission, which can mean criminal penalties, including up to 3 years in prison and/or a fine up to 500,000 yen. Now, Dubai is the final boss. The UAE expects you to get approval in advance for certain controlled prescriptions. If you show up without that approval and they classify your meds as a controlled drug issue, you are looking at confiscation plus serious penalties. UAE law allows at least 3 months in jail or a fine from 10,000 to 100,000 AED for personal use cases. And if they suspect something and request a test sample, refusing is not a no thank you moment. Refusal can mean at least 2 years in prison and a fine of at least 100,000 AED. So here is how you avoid the drama. Keep prescriptions in the original labeled bottle. Keep a photo of the label on your phone, and bring a simple doctor's note for anything that could raise eyebrows. One more sleeper issue: medical gel packs. If it is half melted and slushy at TSA, expect extra screening, because now it looks like a liquid situation. Has anyone ever had meds or vitamins confiscated at customs? Drop the story in the comments. And if you think this one is stressful, wait for item number 8, because it is a $300 suitcase problem that can blow up at the gate in about 10 seconds. You know that fancy smart suitcase you bought because it felt like a glow-up? Yeah, in 2026, that bag can turn into a gate check headache in about 30 seconds. You have seen this movie. You are boarding in a later group. The agent grabs the mic and goes, "Bins are full. We need volunteers to gate check." And you are thinking, fine, whatever. But smart luggage has a trap built in. If that battery cannot come out, they usually will not take the bag into the cargo hold. And this is the part people argue about until it is too late. My phone has a battery. True, but a battery issue in the cabin can be handled. A lithium battery problem in the belly of the plane is a whole different situation. So what happens at the gate? They do not destroy your suitcase. They just put you in a bad choice corner. They will tell you to remove the battery right there. And if you cannot do it fast, you are suddenly repacking on the jet bridge while everyone squeezes past you like you are a traffic cone. Here is the rule I live by. If you cannot pop that battery out in a few seconds at home, do not bet your boarding on it. Cheap fix? Take the battery module out before you even leave for the airport and pack the suitcase like a normal bag. Even cheaper fix? Use a regular suitcase for flights where gate checking is likely. Tight regional jets, full flights, basic economy boarding groups. You know the ones. Because the smart part is not worth it if it makes you miss boarding. All right, next one is even touchier because it fits in your pocket. And bringing it is one thing, but charging it on the plane is where people get themselves in real trouble. For my cloud chasers, flying right now is basically navigating a minefield. You see harmless strawberry mist. Security sees a fire hazard. Customs sees contraband. You need to take your destination seriously. Thailand and Singapore are not playing games. Bringing a vape there genuinely risks jail time or deportation. Even in hotspots like Mexico, you're looking at immediate confiscation and fines that cost more than your return ticket. We've seen vacations ruined at Cancun Customs over a couple of disposable pods. On the plane, this is non-negotiable. Never charge your device. The FAA strictly forbids it because lithium batteries can overheat. Plug that into your seat, and you instantly go from passenger to safety threat in the eyes of the crew. It is not worth the drama. And don't try to sneak a puff in the bathroom. Modern smoke sensors are better than you think. Getting caught means a massive fine and potentially being banned from that airline for life. The smartest move? Switch to Zyn pouches or patches for the travel days. Unless you're 100% sure about the local laws, leave the hardware at home. Is a quick buzz really worth a criminal record? If you think that's strict, wait until you see item number 6. It's a flying toy you love, but airports treat it like a spy plane. Let's talk about that flying camera in your bag. You might see your DJI Mini as a harmless way to capture the scenery. But once you cross certain borders, many countries don't view it as a creative tool. They treat it as restricted aviation equipment. And that shift in perspective changes everything. Egypt is the ultimate cautionary tale. Flying a drone near heritage sites like the pyramids is a major security violation. Local authorities do not mess around. You're looking at immediate confiscation and heavy fines. You're not just losing a gadget, you're inviting a level of scrutiny that ruins the entire vibe of your trip. Then there's India, which is less about spies and more about a bureaucratic trap. You can't just walk in. In many cases, you're supposed to apply for permission online before you even board your flight. If you land without the right paperwork, say goodbye to your drone. Customs will probably seize it, and navigating the red tape to get it back is extremely difficult. And don't bother burying it in your laundry to fool the scanner. The moment you try to conceal it, you lose the "I didn't know" defense. If it looks like you tried to sneak it in, you're not just losing the drone, you're facing a smuggling charge. So what's the smarter play? Check international drone laws on an app like DroneBuddy before you pack. Or better yet, if you absolutely need aerial shots, hire a local drone operator when you get there. It saves you the hassle and keeps your record clean. We've dealt with the cameras buzzing overhead. Now, let's look at the ones hiding right on your face. Item number 5 gives you that 007 vibe, but border security treats it like actual espionage. Anything that's disguised as something else is where travelers get into trouble. A normal camera? People get it. An action cam? Fine. But a pen that's also a camera, or glasses that secretly record, now it's not content creation anymore. It looks like covert surveillance. And here's why this goes sideways at the border. X-rays don't care about your explanation. A pen is supposed to be a pen. Glasses are supposed to be glasses. When the scanner sees a battery, wiring, and a circuit board hiding inside something that shouldn't have electronics, that's an instant red flag. Not because you're a spy, but because the device is built like one. What usually happens isn't some movie scene. It's more annoying and more expensive than that. You can get pulled aside, questioned, and the item can be confiscated on the spot. In some places, you might also get hit with an administrative fine. Either way, your fun gadget turns into a long conversation with an officer who is not in the mood for your James Bond era. So if you want to film your trip, keep it simple. Bring a regular camera, your phone, or a clearly labeled action cam. The more normal it looks, the less it looks like you're trying to hide something. All right, now let's move from gadgets that look suspicious to something that looks totally harmless and honestly kind of cute. Because the next item is a sleep gummy. And in the wrong airport, that can turn into a very real problem. That little 0% THC badge on your sleep gummy feels comforting. Right up until you're standing in an arrivals line and nobody cares what the front label says. Here's why CBD is such a trap for travelers. The risk isn't only what you think you bought. It's the trace THC, the contamination, the full spectrum surprise, the labeling that doesn't match what's actually inside. So you're basically walking into a strict border checkpoint with a product that can turn into a chemistry question. And in certain destinations, that's where things get ugly fast. In places known for zero-tolerance drug enforcement, think parts of the Middle East and countries like Singapore and Indonesia, anything they classify as cannabis-related can lead to confiscation, fines, being denied entry, or getting detained while they sort it out. Your intention doesn't matter as much as the classification. That's why you keep seeing headline stories out of vacation spots like Bali. Someone brings cannabis oil for pain relief, and suddenly it's not a wellness routine anymore. It's a legal problem. So if you're crossing borders, don't pack CBD, don't pack hemp gummies, don't pack anything that could be interpreted as cannabis adjacent. If you need sleep help, keep it boring and travel safe, because a bedtime gummy is a terrible trade for an interrogation at arrivals. All right, now let's go from it's just a gummy to it's just a lighter. Because item number 3 looks harmless, but the wrong kind can get flagged immediately when it hits the X-ray. Plasma arc lighters are undeniably cool. They're basically miniature lightsabers. But unlike your power bank, which just sits there, this gadget is designed to create immediate, intense heat. That makes security very nervous. The rules are specific. Checked bags are a hard no. For carry-on, it's allowed. But there's a massive catch. It requires a specialized safety latch to prevent accidental activation. They need to be 100% sure it won't torch your backpack mid-flight. Here's the gamble. Safety is subjective. One viewer had their lighter confiscated simply because the agent decided the latch felt a bit loose. You're never going to win a debate about engineering specs in the security line. It's a fight you will lose. And if you're heading to China, don't bother. Most airports there have a zero-tolerance policy for all lighters. It's getting tossed, period. So ask yourself, why invite the scrutiny? Carrying a $50 gadget that acts as a giant Inspect Me sign for TSA makes zero sense when a disposable one does the same job. Sometimes high-tech equals high hassle. Stick to the basics and save the plasma beams for home. Losing a lighter is just annoying. But now, let's get to the part everyone is waiting for. I know many of you clicked on this video because you saw that circled piece of watch on the thumbnail, right? So why on earth is it banned? The answer is coming up in item number 2, and getting it wrong is the kind of mistake that ends up costing people thousands of dollars. All right, next trap, stuff you bought overseas. People think it's just a small gift, I'm not importing anything. So they hit no and keep it moving. But the sneakiest version of this isn't in your suitcase. It's on you. Say you bought a new watch abroad and you're wearing it through arrivals. You tell yourself, I'm wearing it, so it doesn't count. Then customs asks if you bought anything. You say no, and they notice it. What felt like a casual question can turn into secondary inspection. And now you're risking the worst combo, losing the item, plus extra penalties on top. Here's the 10-second fix. Bought it abroad? Put it on the form. Wearing it? Still on the form. And keep the receipt easy to grab, because the fastest way to end this is showing the price without digging through your whole phone. Now, there's one more situation people forget. The watch isn't new. You've owned it for years. It just looks expensive. Before you fly, take a quick date-stamped photo of you wearing it. And if you're traveling out of the US with a high-value watch, do CBP Form 4457 before you leave. It's quick, it's free, and you can reuse it as long as it stays readable. So coming home doesn't turn into a debate about whether you bought it abroad. Now, there's a version of souvenirs that gets people in even deeper trouble. Counterfeits. Because it's just for personal use is a theory a lot of customs officers don't care about. Take a look at that bracelet or handbag you're wearing. If you grabbed it for a steal at a night market, you're traveling with a legal risk you probably haven't even thought about. Customs used to focus on shipping containers, but now places like France and Italy are cracking down on individual travelers. Landing in Paris or Milan with a super fake Louis Vuitton isn't just a fashion faux pas. Travelers have faced on-the-spot confiscation and 3- or 4-figure fines. U.S. Customs is also pushing hard on this, warning that buying and bringing in fakes feeds money into criminal networks. This crackdown is sparking a huge debate in the comments. Many viewers feel that digging through personal luggage for a knockoff bag is total government overreach. People are rightly asking, what if I received a fake bag as a gift? Am I really going to get busted for a present I didn't even buy? And there's an even deeper frustration from older travelers who aren't obsessed with brands. They point out a scary reality. They buy shoes because they're comfortable and affordable, not because of the logo. They worry the system ends up punishing people who aren't experts on high fashion or trained to spot a fake. It's a valid, painful concern. Unfortunately, customs agents aren't there to judge your intent or your fashion knowledge. If they decide the logo is fake, they treat it as a real customs violation, not a harmless mistake. Bottom line, counterfeits are now a legal risk, not just a quality one. If you didn't buy it from a reputable store, the safest move is to leave it at home when you cross a border, unless you feel like making an involuntary donation to the French government. And that's the scary part about 2026. None of these feel dangerous when you pack them. They feel normal, right up until the scanner says otherwise. So do me one favor before your next flight. Take 10 seconds and do a final pocket and carry-on check, because the cheapest item in your bag can end up being the most expensive mistake of your trip. Now I want to hear it. What's the most ridiculous thing you've ever had confiscated at an airport, or the closest call you've had with security? Drop it in the comments. I read those, and they help everybody. If this video saved you from a fine, a delay, or a come with me conversation, hit like, subscribe, and send it to the one friend who always packs like it's still 2019. Safe travels, and I'll see you in the next one.